So here's exactly how I would do it, and I do for myself. If you've been eating in a calorie deficit, here's what I would do. Metabolic damage, or adaptive thermogenesis as it should be called, because you can't actually damage your metabolism permanently, is one of those fitness grey areas that not many people know a lot about. And in this video I'm going to shed the light on as much of it as I can. I'm going to give you as much information on it as I can, and even still I think there's a lot about metabolic damage that is just not known. Metabolic damage basically lowers your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. That's the calories that you burn while you're at rest. So your total day energy expenditure, or your maintenance calories, is now lowered. Your metabolism has got slower, and now your maintenance calories are lower. So if you was eating 2,000 calories a day before, now if you eat that same 2,000 calories, you're going to gain weight, whereas before you would have maintained your weight. If you want to learn more about metabolic damage, fat loss, or how to build more muscle, then subscribe to this YouTube channel. I upload videos Mondays and Thursdays, and if you click that little bell as well, YouTube will tell you every single time I upload a new YouTube video. If you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to show you 3 tips to speed up your metabolism so that you can burn more body fat. Metabolic damage is like starvation mode for your body. So to lose body fat, when we want to lose body fat, you have to eat in a calorie deficit. The idea is that by eating less calories in that calorie deficit, that your body will then burn your body fat for energy. The reason this happens is because, let's say you eat 2,000 calories a day and you maintain your weight. If you take 500 calories away from that, now you're losing body fat because your body doesn't have that extra 500 calories. Your body can't just forget about the extra 500 calories you don't have. It has to take it from anywhere. So calories are just energy, and body fat, stored body fat right here in your belly, in your chest, everywhere, is just energy. It's just calories that have been turned into energy. So what your body will do is take that 500 calories it wants from your body fat, and that's how we lose body fat, that's how we lose weight. Here's where the slow metabolism or metabolic damage comes in. So after 1 to 2 months of being in that calorie deficit, eating less calories, your body doesn't know that you're doing this strategically on purpose to lose body fat because you're at an unhealthy weight, or you want to get six-pack, or whatever that is. Your body thinks that you're starving. Your body actually thinks you're dying. So what it will automatically do, because the body's great at keeping us alive, what your body will do is go into survival mode. So what happens is, because you're eating less calories, your body will start to slow your metabolism down so that you don't lose any more weight, because the way the body can see it, the body doesn't realize that you're going to stop eating in that calorie deficit in a few weeks time. Your body thinks that if I keep losing 2 pounds a week for the next 3 months, I'm going to be dead, and that's the reality of it. For me, I might lose 2 pounds a week, but I might only do that for 2 or 3 weeks. If I was to do that for 3 or 4 months, I wouldn't even be alive anymore. If I lost 30-40 pounds, I don't have 30 or 40 pounds of body fat to lose, and so that's what the body thinks is going to happen. That's why the metabolism slows down. If you keep doing this, keep lowering the calories, keep letting the body think that you're starving, it's going to lower and lower and lower and lower the metabolism to try and keep you alive. So that's why people say that you get then metabolic damage. The metabolism is broken because you've kept being in that deficit for so long. Having a slow metabolism or metabolic damage, whatever you want to call it, is actually quite common. There's a lot of people that want to lose body fat. They don't know how to do it. They don't have a coach. They don't have someone to help them. They've figured out they need to eat in a deficit, and they go wild with it, and they do it all wrong. The good news is, even though this can be worrying, 99% or more of you do not have metabolic damage. All you have is you've eaten in a calorie deficit for a fair amount of time, maybe quite a long time, and what's happened is your metabolism has slowed. That doesn't mean you have metabolic damage just because you have a slower metabolism, and that's what most of you have. It's very rare that someone would have metabolic damage, and you would definitely know if you did. It would be, if you was a female, you might not have periods for months. You would be constantly tired, hungry, feeling just absolutely terrible all the time. You would be, seriously, you would know about it. It wouldn't just be, I can't lose body fat. And I think people jump the gun too quickly. They think that just because they can't lose body fat that they have metabolic damage, and let me tell you, most of you don't have it. What we need to do is teach the body that we're not starving. So I'm going to teach you how to do that in a second. Metabolic damage is real, and it's something that only really can happen if you've been eating in a calorie deficit for months and months and months. Then it absolutely can happen. If you've just been eating in a calorie deficit consistently for maybe 6 to 8 weeks, that sort of time period, you've just slowed down your metabolism. You don't have metabolic damage. It's like I said, if you've been doing this for maybe 6 months, a year, that's when you're in a scenario where you've been yo-yo dieting, you're going up and down, and there's a scenario that you may have metabolic damage. So here's exactly how I would do it, and I do for myself. If you've been eating in a calorie deficit, if you have a slow metabolism, or for some people you think you've got metabolic damage, here's what I would do. So when you're cutting down, when you're eating in a calorie deficit, only eating that calorie deficit for 6 weeks at a time. So what you do is in 6 weeks time you could lose anywhere between 6 and 12 pounds. So you'd lose 1 pound to 2 pounds a week. That's 6 to 12 pounds. Let's say you lose 10 pounds by the end of the 6 weeks. That's good. That's really good going to lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks. At some point around this time, the body will start to then, like we said before, slow the metabolism down. This is where we do the opposite and eat more calories to speed the body back up, to speed that metabolism back up. But really what we're doing is communicating to the body that we're not starving, that everything is okay. The way that we do this is we spend 2 to 3 weeks maximum eating more calories. So if you was eating 500 calories less to eating that calorie deficit, just add 500 calories at the end of the 6 weeks back to your diet. You're not going to lose progress because what we're doing is we're doing it strategically. So let's say in 6 weeks you lost 10 pounds. The goal is to gain 0.5 pounds per week for that 2 to 3 week period. So really, realistically, the most you're going to gain is around 2 pounds. Then at that point what we can say is 9 weeks later, including the 6 weeks and the 2 to 3 weeks that we would have to build the metabolism back up again, 9 weeks later we've still lost 8 pounds and we don't have a broken metabolism. This is the process that you go through. You then do another 6 weeks where you're in that calorie deficit. Then you do another 2 to 3 weeks of gaining 1 to 2 pounds in that period to teach the body that you're okay. Then you can go between both of them, and that is how you get lean. That's how you lose body fat, and that's how you avoid weight loss plateaus. And I have a video on how to break through a weight loss plateau. It's similar to the advice that I give here. It's rare that anyone will give you the advice I'm about to give you, but if you're someone that's trying to eat in a calorie deficit to lose body fat, but also you like to bulk up as well, you're into the bodybuilding side of things, here's exactly how I set my nutrition up in terms of my calorie surplus to gain weight and to gain muscle, and my calorie deficit. So I'll do around 5 to 8 weeks of bulking at a time, and my goal is always to gain 0.5 pounds per week. So I'm only going to be gaining maybe 3 to 5 pounds in that time of body fat or weight in general. Maybe a pound of it might be muscle if I'm lucky. 3, 4, 5 pounds might be body fat. What I then do is I'll spend around 3 to 4 weeks cutting in that calorie deficit to strip off the body fat that I gained while I was bulking. Not only does this allow me to build muscle slowly throughout the year and stay lean, it also allows me to not be in this scenario where I have metabolic damage or my metabolism is impaired. So over the course of a year, I actually gain muscle. I gain a few pounds of muscle every year, but I'm leaner, or the same leanness that I was at the start of the year. What a lot of people teach, and it's such bad advice, is do a 6-month bulk, get as fat as you can, build as much muscle as you can, get out of shape basically, and you have to walk around in a hoodie all year because you're out of shape, and then spend the next 3 to 4 months cutting that weight off but keeping the muscle. You'll build more muscle in the long term doing this, but then you're basically going to end up being fat half the year. So the way I like to do it is sort of going back and forth, like I said. That way we can build maybe 1 pound less muscle a year or 2 pounds less muscle a year, but we stay lean all year and we don't have the issues with the metabolism. One of my best pieces of advice I can give to people is build more muscle. Muscle requires more calories, so someone that weighs 200 pounds and they've got, you know, big strong muscles, they're gonna be eating maybe 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day just to maintain their weight. Somebody that weighs 200 pounds and doesn't have much muscle but is overweight or obese, they're not going to be able to eat 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day without gaining additional weight. So if you're eating the calorie deficit, the more muscle you have, the more calories you can eat while you're in the calorie deficit. Here's the 3 bonus tips I promised you so that we can speed up our metabolism, burn more body fat. So what people don't realise is when you eat in a deficit, the thyroid gland also slows down. The best way to speed this up is to get iodine in your diet. The best way, in my opinion, to get that is to take a supplement called organic sea kelp. If you can get it from Iceland, that's the best source, but any organic sea kelp is going to be good for helping the thyroid gland. Bonus tip number 2 is back off the HIIT cardio. HIIT cardio is a brilliant exercise, but a lot of times people are doing too much cardio to try and lose body fat, and so it's very strenuous on the nervous system, but it burns out the adrenal glands, and so by doing too much cardio, in that calorie deficit, trying to lose body fat, it's really just too taxing on the body. So I recommend switching to something like a 60-minute walk every day, and then you won't run into that problem. Bonus tip number 3 is eat more protein. The reason is because protein is harder and it takes longer for the body to digest. It has a thermogenic effect on the body, and so you're going to burn more calories by digesting the protein.